This is a study on the eagles. Where are the eagles to be gathered? We're reading from Matthew chapter 24, which is where Jesus taught specific teachings about the end times just before he comes in the clouds. And also he taught about the events leading to the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD. And it says in verse 28 of Matthew 24, "For wheresoever the carcass is gathered, there will the eagles be gathered together." So I'm going to move up a little bit here. Verse 24 says, "For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect." This has been happening for many of us. We've seen it. "Behold, I have told you before." Verse 26, "Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not." Verse 27, "For as the lightning comes out of the east, and shines even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be." Verse 28, "For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together." Where are the eagles gathering right now? If you watch in the news, the eagles are definitely being gathered. Let's go up to verse 20 here. Just compare. "But pray that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be." This was from 538 AD to 1798 AD. The great persecution. Verse 22, "And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened." And this actually happened. Verse 23, "Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect." Interesting that it should say this warning as the events culminated in 1798 and after that. "Behold, I have told you before. Therefore, if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning comes out of the east, and shines even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together." Let's consider what the eagles are. I'm going to go very quickly through this chapter and leave it for you to study it. But in Ezekiel chapter 17, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, "Son of man, put forth a riddle, and speak a parable unto the house of Israel, and say, Thus says the Lord, a great eagle with great wings, long-winged, full of feathers, which had divers colors, came unto Lebanon, and took the highest branch of the cedars. He cropped off the top of his young twigs and carried it into a land of traffic. He set it in a city of merchants. Merchants are a key phrase. He took also of the seed of the land and planted it in a fruitful field. He placed it by great waters and set it as a willow tree. Now in verse 12 it gives you the interpretation. Say now to the rebellious house, know you not what these things mean? Tell them, behold, the king of Babylon is come to Jerusalem, and he has taken the king thereof and the prince thereof, and led them with him to Babylon. He has taken of the king's seed, and made a covenant with him, and has taken an oath of him, and has also taken the mighty of the land. So we see that the great eagle in Ezekiel chapter 17 is Babylon. And this literally occurred with Nebuchadnezzar. Now we come to verse 7 of Ezekiel chapter 17. There was also another great eagle with great wings and many feathers, and behold, this vine did bend her roots toward him, and shot forth her branches toward him, that he might water it by the furrows of her plantation. It was planted in good soil by great waters, that it might bring forth branches, and that it might bear fruit, that it might be a goodly vine. Verse 5 and 6. No, correction, verse 6. And it grew and became, here I am, now I'm at the correct verse. Verse 15. But he rebelled against him by sending his ambassadors unto Egypt, that they might give him horses and much people. Shall he prosper? Shall he escape that does these such things? Or shall he break the covenant and be delivered? The second eagle is Egypt and Pharaoh. As I live, says the Lord God, surely in the place where the king dwells that made him king, whose oath he despised and whose covenant he brake, even with him in the midst of Babylon shall he die. Neither shall Pharaoh with his mighty army and great company make for him in the war by casting up mounts and building forts to cut off many persons. Seeing he despised the oath by breaking the covenant, when he had given his hand, and has done all these things, he shall not escape. Therefore, thus says the Lord God, as I live, surely mine oath that he despised, and my covenant that he has broken, even it will I recompense upon his own head. So it's talking really about Egypt and Pharaoh are the second eagle. However, who's being referenced here is Jerusalem and the king of Israel at that time. So I'm coming back to Matthew chapter 24, verse 28. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. Let's go to Luke 17, verse 20. Luke 17, verse 37. And they answered and said unto him, Where, Lord? And he said unto them, Wheresoever the body is, there will the eagles be gathered together. So Jesus referenced in Luke 17 about this. So let's read through here. It talks about verse 26. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it also be in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives. They were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Likewise also, as it was in the day of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. In that day, he which shall be upon the housetop and his stuff in the house, let him not come down to take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back. Remember Lot's wife. Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. And then it comes to this verse that has been often said to have to do with the rapture, but it actually has a different meaning as you read in this chapter. I tell you, in that night there shall be two men in one bed. The one shall be taken, and the other shall be left. Two women shall be grinding together. The one shall be taken, and the other left. Two men shall be in the field. The one shall be taken, and the other left. Notice that men and women here is italicized, so it's not really in the original translation. Someone put that in there, but that's not really accurate. But still, this has been used to discuss of the belief that many have in the rapture. But look at what it says here. They're left. One is taken, one is left. 3 different examples. Verse 27, and they answered and said unto him, Where, Lord? And he said unto them, Wheresoever the body is, there will the eagles be gathered together. If we understand and observe the eagles being gathered together, we know the time is near. And this was one of the keys that helped the Christians in the New Testament church know when to leave Jerusalem before the Roman armies came back the second time and Jerusalem was destroyed. So I'm just opening this up for discussion, and I'm going to suggest that you join me in studying about the eagles. And notice here that these verses that have been, many believe that this is about the rapture, but notice that those who are taken, where are they taken to? Where the eagles are gathered. Wherever the body is, the dead, deceased, smelly body, that's where the eagles are gathered in the Bible, where this is talking about the vultures, the nations of the world being gathered together. So this is what Jesus warned us about the time of the end. Let's go back to verse 22 here. And he said unto the disciples, The days will come when they shall desire to see one of the days of the Son of Man, and you shall not see it. And they shall say to you, See here, or see there. Go not after them, nor follow them. For as the lightning that lightens out of the one part under heaven shines unto the other part under heaven, so shall also the Son of Man be in his day. So, we're studying the eagles. Here, let me go back here. Where the body is, there will the eagles be gathered. And to encourage us, let's look at Luke 18. We have 2 examples of 2 men. One was taken and the other was left. The first man was the Pharisee who stood and prayed thus with himself, God, I thank thee that I am not as other men are, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even as this publican. I fast twice in the week. I give tithes of all that I possess. But the second man, the publican, standing afar off, would not lift up so much as his eyes unto heaven, but smote upon his breast, saying, God be merciful to me, a sinner. I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For everyone that exalts himself shall be abased, and he that humbles himself shall be exalted. We have this hope that is sure and steadfast, our hope in Jesus, who is even now pleading his blood in the most holy place in heaven.